Thank you for watching the Fitness Feuds channel. Please watch the ads and share this video if you support this channel. If you follow bodybuilding, you have probably heard the term bubble gut being thrown around, especially when Phil Heath and Louis Marco discuss the term in their videos. But what you might not know is that the bubble gut phenomenon started rearing its head in the early 1990s, when the use of insulin became more prevalent. The early 1990s were a time for major changes in the IFBB. The direction of the sport went from aesthetics and small waists to the birth of the mass monster. It was this turn that many believe was the downfall of bodybuilding today. And for those critics, the leader for the change came from the six-time Mr. Olympia champion, Dorian Yates. Dorian's use of GH and insulin created one of the biggest bodybuilders of all time. And during this time, Dorian experienced the bubble gut, and he attributed that its root cause was from insulin. Listen to Dorian describe how his waist started to grow in the late 90s from the use of insulin and GH.
Well, I don't know exactly the mechanics behind it, but I can tell you that my stomach started to get distended in 96, 97, last 2 years of my career, because I was using insulin. That was the new thing then, around 94, 95, guys started using insulin along with the growth hormone. And then you started to see some slight distension. Even myself, I noticed it in the last year I was competing. Not to the extreme that you see it now, but noticed something. So, I'm not sure exactly what's happening, but I can have a guess. I can have my theory. So my theory is using insulin and IGF and things like that. It's bringing growth, but it's also bringing growth to some tissues that normally wouldn't be stimulated by weight training. For instance, around the waist or the internal organs, or perhaps the body's retaining fat, like visceral fat. You know, the fat inside, around the organs, perhaps. And even I have a theory, maybe even inside the muscle. So why does it seem that the quality of the muscle and the bodybuilders on stage now, not just the belly, but the whole physique, is lacking small details, is lacking the separation? With some poses that Sean clearly beat Phil on, particularly the front double bicep was the abdominal problem he had.
Folks, don't wait. Get Kellogg's new Sugar Smacks. They're better than ever. Puffs of wheat, sugar toasted, and candy sweet. You bet. Just get Kellogg's Sugar Smacks, brand new.
The whole physique is lacking. These same criticisms were, however, directed back at Dorian during the end of his career, especially in 1997, when Dorian faced off against similar mass monsters that had symmetry, conditioning, and the insulin-bloated look. Today we now know that insulin has a way of ruining a bodybuilding physique after a few years of use. Add in the fact that Dorian injured his biceps and triceps in 1997, and it looks like the judges were playing favoritism that year. The first few years on insulin creates freaks. But after a few more years, its use usually leaves athletes looking bloated, lacking separation, forcing an early retirement. The question is, should Dorian Yates really be critical of the current lineup of 300-pound insulin users, when he helped create these mass monsters?
Take it from Crinkles. That's me. The best breakfast under the big top is post-sugar rice Crinkles. So crinkly, so delicious, so different.
Before the terms plumboism or bubble gut was ever spoken, Dorian dominated and changed the sport. With Slin and anabolics, he was able to push the body far past its natural and enhanced peak. This was the beginning of the age of the mass monster in 1997, the new direction for bodybuilding, which has led to much controversy, even today. One has to wonder, was Dorian to blame for ruining bodybuilding? Was his desire to be a monster directly related to the numerous problems that affect the sport even today? When a kid says, "I want to be huge like Dorian," who is responsible?
Folks, don't wait. Get Kellogg's new Sugar Smacks. They're better than ever.